Rivals of Aether 2 has finally released, and oh my god is it fun! Even if you are not a huge fan of Rivals 1, while the characters are the same, Rivals 2 is a completely new game, which means you gotta find a new main. The Rivals cast is full of unique and innovative designs to platform fighters. Some of them are definitely more similar to other fighters, but many of them have a lot of cool new unique mechanics. And having played the game a good amount in these past few months during the betas, I am here to break down and explain how to play every character to help you pick your future main. So let's jump into it with Zetterburn. Zetterburn is a fast rushdown character with some of the best shield pressure and punish game in the entire cast, very reminiscent of course of Fox McCloud. With the addition of shields and grabs, Shine has become one of his best moves as an amazing option to pressure shielding opponents. And don't even get me started on his throws, both his down throw and up throw, both leading into kill confirms and also comboing at low percents. Now he does lack range on a lot of his attacks, so you have to utilize his fast movement to get around your opponents and find openings. But if you do find an opening... Victory. Now Zetterburn's main gimmick is his fire mechanic. Many of his specials light the opponent on fire, making them take small damage over time. And this fire can be consumed by landing a strong attack, which causes your next strong attack to become really strong. So Zetterburn does not at all struggle to kill, and is an incredibly fast rushdown character, but he does struggle on his recovery. There are some mix-ups you can do at high level, but for the most part for new players, Zetterburn's gonna get destroyed off stage a lot. Overall, Zetter is a really good beginner character as he's not too unfamiliar for Smash players to pick up, and his main mechanic is not too intrusive. If you enjoy oppressive rushdown characters who get heavily punished for mistakes, he is the perfect pick. Moving on, let's talk about one of my favorite characters in Rivals 2, Clairen. Clairen is the go-to sortie in Rivals, sharing the same tipper mechanic as Marth in Smash Bros. Basically, at the end of all of her sword hitboxes, she has a special sweet spot at the end of the tip, marked by this different color. This hitbox adds extra hit pause or freeze, allowing Clairen to combo off her hits much easier. Additionally, they're also much stronger in knockback, so she's rewarded with strong KO power for proper spacing. That can be an issue though, because if you're not landing tippers, your opponent will live for a long time. Additionally, using her special pummel, you can also add that extra freeze to her throws, which are incredibly good for kill confirms. Even without the special pummel, Clairen's throws are amazing and she has some of the best grab game in the entire game. Overall, Clairen is a great character for players who enjoy batting away their approaching opponents through good spacing and disciplined aggression. If you like hitting extremely satisfying kill confirms at mid percents for the trade-off of having to work for your kills at high percents, she is definitely the character for you. Next up are the characters who are still on the easier side to pick up but have more intrusive gimmicks or mechanics, starting with Ranno. People often compare Ranno to Smash Bros. Sheik, given that a lot of his normals are very similar and he still has the same needle projectile. And additionally, he now has a down throw tech chase similar to Melee Sheik. And if you enjoy that close-up combo heavy playstyle of Sheik, then Ranno is a great choice. However, Ranno has a weird mechanic being his bubble. A few of his moves spawn a poisonous bubble, which if any opponent including Ranno gets hit into, they get temporarily trapped. This bubble also stops all momentum going into it, so it can actually save your opponent or save yourself in a dire situation. Additionally, many of Ranno's attacks apply poison stacks on the opponent, and the more stacks the opponent has, the longer they spend inside of the bubble, letting you rack up a lot of free damage. As for his movement, Ranno is very fast on the ground, but actually has some of the worst airspeed in the entire game, which can make his movement a little bit tricky for players who love to run in and do short hop aerials, since usually you want to focus on dash dancing, wave dashing, and getting tilts for your openings. So if you like characters who are more grounded and fast paced, Ranno might be the character for you, especially if you enjoy the more technical aspects of movement, since Ranno has a lot of advanced movement tech. Loxodont is a brand new character to the Rivals series, and provides an interesting disjointed playstyle for a big heavyweight. From my own experience, he reminds me a lot of King DDD with these big, slow, strong attacks, and even some set play with the projectile. Due to having big disjoints on a lot of his moves, he's really good at actually walling out opponents in neutral, as he can poke really far with his extended hitboxes. He also excels at edge guarding, not only with his two different spikes, but also with his large hitboxes that cover the ledge, and his neutral special which can be used to disrupt recoveries. As for his main character's mechanic, it is the magma that he spawns on the ground. A lot of his moves spawn this magma on the ground, which if Loxodont stands in, he gains a charge of magma. He can store up to 3 charges, which make his strong attacks better, as well as improve his down special for recovery. Which is very important since notably, Loxodont's recovery just sucks. It's his biggest issue by far. So if you enjoy that playstyle of heavyweights who are a lot slower, but have strong moves, Loxodont might be the character for you. Especially if you don't mind getting comboed pretty hard and also edgeguarded hard, since you yourself have some amazing edgeguarding tools. Moving on is Kragg. Kragg is an easy to pick up heavyweight and a staple of competitive play, at least in Rivals 1. And it's seeming to be the case in Rivals too, as he's got a lot of advantages that other heavies usually don't have, such as a pretty solid recovery and surprisingly good defensive options. And of course he has the other benefits of being a heavy, such as living forever and being able to kill decently well with the right strong attack. Kragg's main gimmick is his Rock and Pillar, both of which actually obstruct movement. And combined with his other specials, you can really mess up the opponent's movement. However, do be careful being too reliant on Kragg's specials, as you might struggle against better players who are better at parrying, as Kragg's down special, side special, and neutral special are very punishable by good parries. Kragg is honestly a great pickup for new players and sort of a noob stomper in many ways. All it takes is spending some time to learn the nuances of his Rock and Pillar, and you can dominate matches. If you enjoy heavyweights in Smash and want to play one that will probably always be decent, Kragg is definitely the character for you. Moving on are the characters who have a little bit more of a learning curve, but in my opinion are still manageable for newcomers if they want to main them. First up being Fleet. Fleet is the closest thing to a traditional zoner, with a lot of projectiles in her kit. She also uniquely has an air float by holding jump, which makes her an absolute demon at edgeguarding off stage, which is how you will get most of your kills, since her on-stage kill power is a lot weaker. Her main mechanic is her stamina. By pressing neutral special, you can consume 1 stamina to empower your next projectile with wind power. And if you hit an opponent with a wind-powered arrow, you get a wind explosion after a brief delay. So utilizing her stamina and wind explosions gives her insanely creative combos once mastered, and is crucial to really understanding Fleet's gameplay. If you enjoy projectile zoning characters and deep offstage edgeguards, then Fleet is definitely the character for you, although her unique playstyle and the stamina mechanic definitely give her a bit of a learning curve. After Fleet is the newest character, Forsburn. According to the developers, Forsburn is a deception character who can outplay the opponent through mind games and decision making. And while that is true, his normals are actually pretty easy to pick up and learn, and overall he was designed to be a bit of a well-rounded fighter with no one specific strength or weakness that defines his play. His unique mechanic is the smoke clouds that he can create. While in a smoke cloud, Forsburn is actually invisible to the opponent. However, opponents are actually visible within smoke. Other than blocking the view, smoke can actually be consumed with Forsburn's down special. And once Forsburn has at least 3 smoke, he can empower one of his specials 1 time, notably changing his down special into Combust, an extremely strong kill move. Forsburn can also create fake clones of himself to even further deceive the opponents. But don't be fooled, he's not a duo character like Rosalina or Ice Climbers, he's still very much a solo character. If you like playing a very well-rounded character with a high skill ceiling, then Forsburn might be the character for you, as he has no major weaknesses or strengths that define his gameplay, but definitely has some things he's better at than others. Moving on are the trickier characters who have very unique mechanics that are really crucial to their overall playstyle, starting with Orcane. Orcane is a slippery character with extremely unique and weird movement. He can absolutely destroy opponents if wielded correctly, by someone who's mastered his advanced tech and resource management. His unique mechanic is the puddle that he creates with his neutral and down special. The puddle interacts with his entire kit, notable examples being his up special which teleports to it, his strong attacks which gain extra range and knockback, and his down special which consumes the puddle to place bubbles. There's tons of other examples of ways that his kit interacts with the puddle, and it's very crucial to mastering Orcane. In general, Orcane is very strong when played more grounded, as his aerial approaches aren't quite as good as his grounded options, and his movement on the ground is really good. If you're looking for a character with a very high skill ceiling, extremely unpredictable movement, and some of the best frame data on the cast, Orcane could be the character for you. Just make sure you really nail down the puddle mechanic, as it's so important for his gameplay. Moving on is Maypul. Maypul is a super fast rushdown fighter with a high barrier of entry and insanely high skill ceiling. She has some of the most explosive creative combo game in the entire cast, and pretty consistent kill confirmed with her setups. Her main mechanic is her mark, which is applied with most of her specials. Once you've marked an opponent, you can press attack and special at the same time to quickly teleport to the opponent. The mark also makes your strong attacks briefly root the opponent, giving you an even bigger reward for successful hits. Additionally, Maypul also has 3 plant friends, being Lily, Terry, and Poppy, who also all have their own unique properties to help our combo game and skill expression. If you're looking for an extremely fast-paced, technical character who has the most skill expression on the roster at the higher levels, Maypul could be the one for you. That being said, she does take a while to fully learn and is pretty unforgiving for new players. And lastly is the character that I found to be the hardest for new players to play, which is of course Wrastor. By no means am I saying new players can't play or shouldn't play Wrastor, but I will say he's the most difficult for new players to pick up and play, since he's very high risk, high reward with his combos and lightweight. Wrastor's unique mechanic is not only the fact that he has multiple jumps, but he actually has mid-air strong attacks. The trade-off being of course that he can no longer perform grounded strong attacks, so to get your kills you almost have to do them always mid-air. This can make closing out stocks pretty tricky for new players, but if you master Wrastor's combos and kill confirms, he feels unstoppable. However, of course it's no easy task, and you need a deep understanding of DI, SDI, crouch cancel, and other core mechanics to truly understand Wrastor's gameplay. So if you're looking for a challenge and want to spite my advice, maybe Wrastor is the character for you, especially if you enjoy doing high risk, high reward stuff off stage. And that is my beginner guide for learning the Rivals 2 roster. Of course, just play whoever you enjoy the most, and honestly, I would suggest trying out everyone at least a good amount before locking in on one or two mains. I'm planning to make tons of Rivals 2 content because this game is amazing, so if you're new here, consider subscribing, it would really help out. Anyways, thanks for watching.